MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by Extreme Parking.
Nothing can prepare you for the horrors of Ghoulies. I mean, unless you've seen Gremlins already. Or Critters. Or Elves. Or The Gate. Oh yeah, or Munchies. Or Hobgoblins.
Stop breathing all over me.
Or Troll. Or Beasties. What the f*** is Beasties? Well, if you've seen any of these films, then you're probably prepared for the horrors of Ghoulies.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
What the hell's in there?
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Now, we have a very special edition here at the top of the hour. If you've been following our Instagram, which according to the numbers, at least 900-something people do, I don't know if they're all watching, but we took in two boys from the cold that were outside, discarded in a box, gave them a quick wash through at the official Bad CJ Sharks location spa laundry room. A little bit of a dryer sheet to give them a nice little fresh scent.
How many did you use?
Just two.
Oh.
And we have well, come on, dude, you're on camera. We have Alexander.
He parted and combed his hair to the side, man.
I don't think he likes it like that. This is Alexander, and Matthew is holding Tomas. And they are our new friends here because we are part of the official United States Stuffed Animal Rehabilitation Program. Which if you guys want, there will be a link in the description to make a donation to. And they help give second chances to stuffed animals all across the globe.
The money goes to us, though, right?
The money goes to us so that we can buy more of those delicious multi-flavored Mike and Ikes that I like so much.
Okay.
Now, guys, thanks for being here. If you want to say hi to the new guys or to us, drop a comment in the beginning. You never do because no one is watching, but we have to say it anyway. So if you're here, even though, like Matthew says, people usually don't do it, I don't do it when people ask, but you should do it when I ask. Drop a like. So, kicking off today is a very special day because this is one of those movies that we're kind of shocked we haven't seen. Now, the cover of this,
Speak
Matthew,
for yourself.
Yeah, well, I guess we kind of split into two halves sometimes. Mateo and his knowledge of movies of studying them a whole lifetime, and us with our, peripheral knowledge of movies within the entertainment general of starting to learn new ones. But me and Matthew had not seen this, but, correct me if I'm wrong, we have seen that little ball-headed boy popping up out of the toilet on VHS shelves from video stores since we were a kid. It is 1985.
4 shot in the 84, came out in 85.
Shot in 84, came out in 85. It is the iconic, the famous, the world-known Ghoulies.
I love it.
Produced by the legend himself from Empire, then later into Full Moon Pictures, Charles Band, who between him and Roger Corman have produced about 6 million and 8 low-budget to varying degrees
and
movies.
And still going strong.
And still going to this day. So we said, hey, why don't we pull out a big name here that we've never seen, and it was Ghoulies.
Sure, why not?
And so we'll get into it as we always do, guys, but first we're going to get into the boring-ass synopsis that no one likes. But we're going to go back to trying something, and Matthew is going to try to do it in literally 5 sentences. Remember that gimmick that failed? Matthew, you have 5 sentences. Make sure you punctuate those so I can count them.
Because people demanded, bring back the 5 sentences.
That's what they said.
didn't see any comments.
No, me neither. But whatever. We'll cut this part and
Matthew?
like that.
It's on you. In 5.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Movie.
Good.
Oh, you madman.
It's one word.
Ghoulies is the story of a guy who inherits a castle. He used to be a baby. He starts
Like almost everybody.
he starts practicing black magic based off stuff he finds in the house, and conjures up a bunch of ghoulies. And then the real sorcerer comes back from the dead and challenges his power, and then fights a homeless man, and they explode.
I lost count of where the
Yeah.
players were, but
It's pretty
I
much.
think it was close.
I think that we should stick with that, and then we'll elaborate.
Pretty good, right? The synopsis is boring as hell.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll get into it over the course of a friggin' hour anyway. Maybe we should just cut it out. Maybe we should say like a
No,
training
you
video,
need- man, you
pause
need it.
tape, watch Ghoulies, come back, and then we'll all start again
Yes.
together. So guys, pause this video. Watch Ghoulies.
No, they just came in.
They're never coming back and they leave.
Yeah, exactly. Don't give them that opportunity.
Go to the kitchen, get some snacks, forget we exist.
You will burn.
So, Matteo, how many times have you seen this one already before this?
Probably 3 or 4.
And now with this time,
Probably 4 or 5 at this point.
adds up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think I'm going to do this. I'm
This-
going to get into Matteo's introduction to it, but first I want to know, what did you think? Quick answer for now.
It's all right.
Shut up, goddammit!
I agree. I wasn't, and I should
I
also...
could see, I don't know if this is the case, but I could see 2 being like, okay, now we found our stride.
Evil Dead 2 theory.
Yes.
Not that Evil Dead 1 is a kick-ass, but I should say that our kick-ass fan/friend, Spectre, on Twitter, at SpectreM91, again, go give him a follow for lots of obscure movie knowledge. He recently recommended Ghoulies 3 to me, said, hey, you don't really need to know the chronological narrative, so dive in. I've never seen any. Ghoulies Go to College, that one.
Wait, is a green ballhead boy in that one?
Yeah,
Is he going to college?
yeah.
Damn.
And he wears I think he wears
Backwards
that.
hat?
Yeah.
Hey,
Damn, why didn't we watch 3?
Well, I should say
I don't
that...
have it yet.
Stop her.
Check me out. Reading a bunch lately? It's a library.
3, I thought was a blast, and I was surprised. I don't want to say family friendly because it's got the classic like boner comedy vibes, but I was surprised by a kind of good-natured, zany, almost cheesy vibe akin to a Full House, very strongly so. Again, not without its boner college jokes, but that kind of surprised me, the zany zip and almost PG in a way fun to it. However, I did think watching Ghoulies 3, to tie it back into this one,
I don't think that's very funny.
I don't know if our titular stars get enough time, or more pointedly, if the madness and the mechanics of the plot seem based enough around them. In fact, you might even point to our opening scene here where a satanic ritual is going on. They are simply to the side while we meet the protagonist. I also, again, we'll get more into it, but I also thought it was kind of all right. And I think that I love our guys. I love the look of them. I love the name. And I think they deserve their own movie. But I don't know if enough was structured around them. So it sounds like we kind of had a similar vibe. Now
The
I'm gonna
movie
shoot
title
to
was-
you. When you discovered it, what was your initial reaction? And how did you discover it? As I usually like to ask, because I know you had more of an organic path than this era when everything is just shoved into our faces on 60 million streaming sites.
This one I learned it through Fangoria.
Cool, cool.
That back then I was it was very discontinued, but I was able to find probably 6 issues a year, give or take, between Fangoria and Starlog, and those were my window on this genre of movies, because back then these movies didn't very rarely would cross the ocean.
Right.
Then I did find the first Ghoulies in I believe in London, that is in England, and I got it, and it was serviceable. I mean,
Well, that was fun.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Most of the problem with Italy, now a little less because with the streaming service and satellite and 24/7 entertainment, they have to get content, so they get everything. But back in the 70s and the 80s, let's say that only the first-class productions would cross the ocean. They would...
The A-list.
Yes, they would say, oh, this is a movie that can make business over there as well, so let's do it. So they wouldn't bother in dubbing and distributing movies like this, or very rarely it would happen. Come now! And so when I saw it, knowing what it was supposed to be, so it's let's say B-movie, which I hate to call them like that, so let's say a lower budget movie, I watched it for what it was. And once again, back in the mid-80s, not everything had to be frantic and quick and the image monster stuff every 2 seconds. So I liked it back then. I still like it. I think that is very extremely charming. I love the presence of the Ghoulies, that actually the fact that they are tangible
I like
puppets.
that you use that word a lot. Charming. I
Oh.
really like that you said that, because that was actually one of my next... The two big things were actually possibly clashing with each other, but I felt a little lack of the presence of our, like I said, our titular stars. But I found the whole movie to be very charming. And I don't know if it's just a classic, like I said, there's kind of a weird lens put over this and Ghoulies 3, just because I have some of the newer offerings from Full Moon in my head, which get down into the lower, doesn't look as much like a movie muck that we always usually talk about.
Free at last! Sultan Almighty, I'm free at last! Ha ha!
The hell is that?
Hold it, hold it, hold it! Before I take any questions, y'all.
Okay.
So I almost have this kind of unintentional jarring effect where I'm like, oh my god, it's a movie made with blood and passion and heart and sweat and an idea and practical effects and the touch of human hands and a nice little budget, and it looks like a movie, which I shouldn't view it through that lens. It's kind of unfair. It's just that I know the Full Moon output now is more of like the sharksploitation that we lament, and it's just, I guess it's interesting to think, like you said, you used to go to a theater to see this.
Yeah.
This was the set. You'd go to see a big Tom Cruise vehicle, and then you'd also in the same one have Ghoulies. It was the same thing. It was the same cinematic experience. I did find it very charming, and like we always jump back to Chud, kind of watching Chud, like, why did this develop a cult audience? I was kind of bored. I don't get it. This I definitely see, and I'm in love with the... Do they have names?
I'm sure they do.
Maybe it's one of those things like they're not in the
Probably.
movie, but they have
Yeah,
names.
probably, yes.
I love our little bald-headed guy. I think he's adorable.
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown. Big-ass round head, classic little
Chud
goblinoid
Brown.
face.
Chuck Brown.
I love him. I don't know, it could be... Funnily enough, the whole time I'm thinking this, I'm like, this is probably how some people feel about sharks. Oh my god, you have 3 little N64-looking goofy cartoon sharks. Oh, they weren't really in there enough. But, I don't know, I do love the guys, but I felt like they're kind of sporadic, and most of the mechanics that move our movie is the satanic plot with the guy...
Yod-He Vau-He. Yod-He Vau-He. Yod-He Vau-He.
I don't know, did you have a similar...
Yes.
I only ask because I know you had... This was your first dumping as opposed to him being used to it. Kind of a
Your first dump?
Your first
Not
dump?
my first dump.
Kind of a sparsity
Yeah,
to the titular?
I agree with everything you said.
Okay.
It looks, even if they are incorporated in the movie in a fairly nice way, it looks like they were an afterthought.
Such an idiot. And I go and wreck everything.
that the movie was, the script was supposedly
just a satanic
thing with the
And then
two little people as assistant.
Where are their feet?
The little people or the ghoulies?
I saw little people's feet.
Oh, okay.
They were wearing those elf shoes.
The ghoulies, I think that the only time that you see them in full figure are the first time that they appear, that one appears with the special effect from the triangle, and the other time is when Jonathan, the protagonist, is reading on a chair, and he is close to him on the armrest, and I think that is a full figure. But yes, being mostly puppetry like that, of course, it's like the Muppet. You rarely see the Muppet.
Yeah.
You see Kermit sitting down during the show. In the movies, they did some.
They walk too much nowadays.
Yeah. Nobody knows where they are. They start walking.
Kind of takes away from it.
Yeah. But despite that, I thought that it was a nice adventure. Also, this one, it's more than scary, is gory. It's not particularly. I mean, there are some wounded after the result of attacks. Which makes it also almost a movie that, if you want to introduce a younger kid, if he or she wants to see their first horror, this could be some. This one, The Gate, Gremlins.
What was the budget of this?
I have absolutely no idea.
Okay, because I was wondering if perhaps the looming shadow of Gremlins, a similar thing, but of course I'm guessing a much, much larger budget. You get so much Gremlin action, I wonder if that's also tainting my vision, you know? Because Gremlins, you get promised Gremlins, and then it's literally in both movies, it's an all-out orgy. And I don't know. You know what it is? Nothing is necessarily pushed forward by them. It's like I said, we get the satanic ritual as the enticing and decent, and then the guy in the house, and then his relationship with the wife as he gets more into the rituals.
I don't think that's his wife.
The father coming.
They're both in middle school.
Yeah.
Back.
Look, I got sidetracked. I figured this stuff has got something to do with my parents. I don't know who they were, so I'm curious. Don't you understand that?
No, I don't understand it, Jonathan. That's just the problem. I don't understand.
And then it's like all that stuff is driving us, and then also the ghoulies come back, and then they pop up and like laugh, and then maybe eat someone.
But why did that old man save him as a baby, and then raise him as his own, or? And then why did the guy was like, oh, okay, you put that necklace on the baby, so I can't touch it. Get it out of here. What do you think he was going to do with the baby? And then the guy just left the cult with the baby?
I imagine so.
But then the main guy died and was buried at the house, eventually? His dad?
Yeah, well, it happened in that house.
Yeah.
So, yes, it was supposed to be dead over there.
But then he was raised at that house, too.
Yes, because he says this is the only family I have.
Well, we'll go back to the house. We'll see you later, Wolfgang. So, Wolfgang's the only family I've ever known.
I don't know if that makes sense. Because he would have to be there while the sorcerer is still there. Unless he died that night.
Unless he died that night.
But he said he was going to kill that girl that night.
Kill them! Honor them!
lady who stopped the baby.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's her baby.
Bro, I don't know.
It seemed like it was.
Unless she just cared about a baby being killed. People seem to get pretty upset about that.
Yeah. Probably. It's a little.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
You know, this is also a great talking point for the old...
For you, perhaps.
Art versus commerce, because we have our, as I said, very iconic cover. One of those iconic covers of the bald-headed boy, which I wish we had a name, but all I can...
His name's Bald-Headed Boy.
All I can think of is that round-ass head. And doesn't the part where...
You and your fat-ass head.
He's birthing them in the pond, and he goes up and cups one of his little head like this.
I would have gone for that boy too. The other ones were kind of gross and mashed up.
Yeah, there was one that was drooling all the time.
It's like a rat, a yeti, and a bald head like this boy.
Looks like a mole kind of.
But yeah, you were talking about the bald ghoulie popping out.
Oh yeah, so I read Charles's book, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
A nice, awesome, entertaining behind the scenes of
I
one
read
of
it
our
too.
movie maestros. And he talked about how, I think him and, forgive me, I forget exactly who, were brainstorming, probably the art guy. They came up with the classic toilet poster and the accompanying line, "They'll get you in the end," which is also great.
Oh.
You got it?
Yes.
Reminds me of the old Metallica, another iconic shirt, even if you don't know them. There's a shirt that says "Metal up your ass," and a guy with a knife popping up their toilet.
What's the meaning of it?
Up the poop. Shoot. But he came up with
Is that
that, and he was
double-entendre?
like, "That's great. There's just one problem that's not in the movie." So then, of course, they went back and shot the insert, so we get maybe less than 2 seconds of when little
Which
guy
looks
pops
exactly
up.
like an insert, because it's just at the toilet in pitch black, and it pops up.
And then we had our poster and marketing structured around that. I think Charles said he can't go to a convention to these days without a fan telling him that, like, "Hey man, I didn't go to the bathroom for weeks because of you." And I say all this to say,
don't go to the bathroom.
Don't ever go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Hear me. All you hosts gathered here. Give me the knowledge. I will have the wisdom and the power!
it's kind of funny, the well-worn territory, even here on the show, led by me mostly, of art versus business, but it all worked, you know?
Yeah.
And you could complain like, oh, it was based on a poster and you just backtracked and put it in there and this and that, but it worked, a spectacular effect, and I feel like a lot of conversations are or a lot of conversations only happen because you want to talk from one side about the other. Like, I would spiel about that as an artist, but if I were to put on the business cap, it's like, shut the fuck up, it was a great decision, salute, it worked amazingly. And I remember, I think there was another anecdote where he was on the phone with his box office predictor, if that's a position. He was like, it's a hit, you know, and this was a big hit for him. So,
but it's the Ghoulies are like the Minions. In the first Despicable Me.
Those little side things take on away of their own.
Yes?
That was the shirt's problem.
I see.
Mics are falling, noses are clogged. I was picking out while we were watching this. My stomach feels like it's dying, like death is happening in there.
Possible.
But we're still here.
No? Macarena, no? Huh, okay. Eh? Oh, taramino,
with you guys. We're talking about the Ghoulies. So
You mean with Paul and your mom?
I wish I was dead.
Oh, it will happen eventually.
Not soon enough. We need to speed up the process. I need suggestions or just help in general.
No. Never.
you know, if you just exacerbate your eating habits, it will.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a way to go, though. You're gonna suffer your last days.
I'm not eating.
Why not?
I'm fasting.
You're fasting?
It's like the movie La Grande Buffet, I think.
We were talking about that last time.
Yeah.
Maybe 3
4
episodes.
people who decide to commit suicide by eating.
Gotta figure out a way.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
Until they explode or until they...
Their body collapses completely. Mostly heart attack or something. But yes.
Within a single day?
No. Takes quite some time. It's a French movie.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm all for it.
No, I can't wait. I got this urge to do it now.
You think there would be suicide assistance programs from the government, you know? Trying to decrease the surplus population?
It is a fascinating moral quandary because...
Not even moral, but like, hey, we're have too many people. Get rid of some.
Well, yes,
again, they need us to work, too.
I mean, that's what most of the conspiracy theorists believe, that there's a population control going on. But I do find it interesting that, like, hey, I'm not happy with being here in this experience. Like, you're not allowed to feel that way.
I'm just trying to do things right.
Come on, we have programs to help you keep going. And I don't really want to keep going. I'm
Like
just
at a
trying to
party,
check
like,
out.
I'm not enjoying the party. Like, no, here, have some beer. Like, no,
I don't drink. Well, there's some chips over
I got
there.
some ecstasy if you want to take it. No, you want some Coke?
Well, there's some
I got
girls.
weed out back.
I said I don't want to be here. Dude, you know, we'll put on a movie. I said I don't want to be here. That opinion is not allowed.
Suplex. Donem. Honorem.
No! You promised! You promised not a child!
Speaking of killing babies.
Oh yeah, that is a good segue actually.
Yes.
So, like I said, I do want to point out I found the whole thing very charming and indicative of a lost era. I mean that genuinely, but I don't know.
I was when I saw it, which was in middle of second half of the 85 of the 80s. Yeah, second half of the 85.
Second half of the 85.
So it was November 85.
It was a cold night in the second half of 85.
I can see it.
Right? It's a perfect 80s song name.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I still enjoyed it. It was once again.
I don't want to say I didn't.
Same.
I don't want to say I didn't.
You realize that
I
back
also don't
then.
want to say I did.
Back then there was a whole another planet. There is the planet A with a lot of money and movies and stuff.
Let's go there.
Yes, and there is a planet B where they were making this kind of movies.
Let's go there actually instead.
Yes, which probably I don't know exactly. I haven't heard the audio commentary by the director Luca Bercovici, who's also an actor and a producer.
And an Italian.
I think that he was born in New York, from Italian. Clearly, Bercovici is
Still, he's got the stain.
Yes, probably they shot it in a week or something because that's usually the style of these movies. Maybe a little longer because this one is pretty heavy.
Yeah, this feels a little. That's what I'm saying. More
practical effect.
Traditional.
This
production.
is my symbol for practical effect. By the way, if I do this, that's gonna be great for your close-up.
Yeah, next is gonna go in my mouth.
Okay. And but I genuinely like them because I was okay. There's other people making movies, because back once again on my dying planet, that is Italy. We were only seeing the great movies, the one that they're talking about at the Oscars and everything else, but not the smaller movies like this.
Sure, why not?
And when I was finding them out, I was saying, oh my God, it is possible. I mean, you don't need to be a billionaire or having the backing of a studio to do a huge production. You can still do something with some ideas and coming up with a movie that is enjoyable, that it has a structure, it has a lot of problems, and why does this happen? Why does that happen? who cares? While you're watching it, it's a fun ride.
You feel craft.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
feel craft in this, and
which is a lost art.
The Grimoire of Abra Mali.
It's strange how all these movies, like you say, they make me think this used to be theater fare. Now, anything that's not, and again, every time I bring this up, I should feel like I'm not a person that hates big budget studio tent poles. Like, I can get down with that. I can get down with that stuff too, man.
What about Rebelsis?
I can get down with some Rebelsis.
I'm down with Rebelsis.
My A1C is down with Rebelsis.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Why, Jonathan, why? Ricky!
What the f*** was I saying? Rebelsis?
You were talking about the craft, the lost art.
Oh, that's right. So I was saying that I do enjoy my big budget dumb Hollywood movies, probably more so than people who be making this argument. But it really does seem to the point where it's like you can't bother with anything else. For example, I pull up just simply because it was this past weekend. Sebastian Maniscalco's About My Father with Robert De Niro. It's a cute little dramedy based on his life experience with his father.
Yeah, I think we got a problem here. We got a problem.
Oh my God, baby!
Yeah, I can't breathe. Wait. Take a bite out of the lemon. It'll help with the nausea. I can't. Get it. I'll cut it. Don't worry. Hey, I'll cut it into pieces. Hold on. I got a knife. He's got a knife. Oh my God. He's got a knife.
It did about $5 million, I think. I don't know what the budget was, but every movie, even a massive one like Guardians of the Galaxy, feels like I said, you got your opening weekend. Okay, let's check the numbers. How'd you do? How's weekend number 2? Doesn't matter. There's a new movie out next week.
Yes.
You get opening weekend to prove yourself if you were a success. With something like About My Father, I don't want it to be this way, but almost just observing seems like, why bother? Why bother with this old school little dramedy-based one? You're going to have the opening weekend. You'll maybe, hopefully, if you're low budgeted, make it back or close to.
Should
and
theaters
then, like,
be reserved for spectacles nowadays?
2 weeks, you'll be. That's what I'm saying. Is that I don't want it to be that way, but even spectacles seem to just have their moment, and then the train moves on to the next one. Nothing feels like an event movie anymore. But even more so than that, it's impossible to imagine something like this being released, which I suppose is why Terrifier 2 felt so special last year. And on another note, I think I told you yesterday, but I don't know if you heard. We all knew it was going to happen. Terrifier 3 has been confirmed to have a low to mid-figure, 7-figure budget.
What a crazy trilogy.
Dude, October, I don't know if you guys or if anyone else out there looks at entertainment as Jane Goodall would apes. But perhaps my legacy in life will be that I didn't want to do it as much as I wanted to droolingly observe it, like a scholar or a zoologist. But last October, you saw the Get Your Franchise Everything. Like literally every prize you can get. Damien Leone, salute. We're not hating. We f***ing love Art the Clown here. But my God, last October we saw a fledgling little Indiegogo kind of micro phenomenon just get everything for the rest of our life. He'll be included in the slasher murals, art up there with Freddy, Jason, and Chucky. There'll be t-shirts, there'll be dolls, there'll be blankets, there'll be a bigger budget for this one. I know he said he plans to stop at 4, we'll see. There might be a bigger one. He might hand it off like the Saw people didn't do another one. You'll see it at Universal Horror, you see it in the f***ing toy shops when you go, you see it at horror cons, Art will be signing things for that. Like, the same thing when I saw The Dark Knight Birth in 2008. Yes, at the time I was like, wow, this movie kicks ass, but I think what was really driving me crazy, I wasn't there for Jaws. You saw the birth of Jaws. You saw...
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
When you didn't know that was a line. You didn't know it was a thing. You saw the jerk back when the head pops up. You didn't know it was friggin' coming. You saw the transformation from, oh my God, what is this, to legacy, part of pop culture. We all witnessed that with Art. Now this dude's got a multi-million-dollar budget for the third one.
To a degree, I saw that because we're gonna need a bigger boat. It doesn't sound like that in Italian.
What's the line translate is?
Ci serve una barca più grossa.
It's the same translation, but it doesn't have the same impact. It's not a quote that people make it. So all the time that there is a movie, we're gonna need a bigger blank, like in Sharknado they say.
We're gonna need a bigger chopper.
Why?
Because it's like the same thing that I was telling you when they made me translate the teaser trailer for Fuller House. That they say, oh, you all remember their catchphrases, and none of them was a catchphrase in Italian.
But they're on repeat in so many episodes. How could they not be?
Because you have different translators, different people who do that. The actors who dub them don't care.
Guarda qui, eh? 20 punti. E adesso battimi se ci riesci.
Va bene.
Centro. Come centro?
Scusa, ma sono diplomato in tirassegno.
The only...
How rude. You got it, dude. You got it, dude.
We don't have really a concept of dude in Italian.
You know,
the only two definitely catchphrases that I remember from sitcoms that actually work and stuck, but because they're very similar.
Hey!
Hey. And
Nanu, nanu. Nanu, nanu.
I guess neither of those need to be translated.
Yeah, well, Nanu Nanu became Nano Nano, but
we just
Jesus, just leave it alone.
I know, but
we just tap dance on the top of the ice because Matteo's Italian, so we naturally come around to it. But I slowly realized there is a massive discussion to unearth about just the separation that language causes in general. Not to mention digging into how the hell a language is birthed. Like if people didn't have words and all of a sudden you not only come up with, and I'm just looking at here, lime, but oh, well, these other people say it this way. I mean, like I can't even get into it here, but it's a whole rabbit hole that fascinates me.
How do you say lime?
How do you say lime in Italian? Limon!
That is ridiculous because sometimes they will say, a long time ago there was a commercial.
L'unica linea al Lime dei Caraibi.
And in Italian it was a Lime dei Caraibi. And people didn't know that the vowel I is pronounced I. We see it and we say I in Italians. So on the commercial printed, if you give an Italian the word lime as you spell it, L-I-M-E, they would read lime. So in order to make it read in lime, they would write it phonetically, and so it became this very bizarre. It became lime, so we would read lime, and so there is that. So we call it lime, or sometimes limetta.
Limetta,
which literally means a small file.
Oh.
You know, the one that you're using
Yeah.
for your nail.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
That's well, I guess.
Yeah.
All languages have weird shit like that.
This has been MaJaMa Jams on Limes.
Yes.
Well, anyway, it's nice to see these moments.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's nice to see the amazing levitation, before I forget, because I knew that I would have forgotten. The nice levitation of our protagonist, who is in front of his friends, and he levitates and levitates in front of a fireplace, and you try very hard not to see the two shadows of the arm that is actually moving him up on the side.
Wait, who levitates?
Jonathan.
What?
At a certain point, after he makes vanish the table.
Oh.
He's in front of the friends who are standing there, and he levitates, and you see on the side the arms that are actually pulling him up, and it's kind of funny.
Look closely. When our assistant's dress is not draped properly, you can see that she's actually lying on top of a 3-foot wide platform. The platform's black, so you won't be able to see it against our curtain. It's attached to a hydraulic forklift positioned behind the curtain.
His friends didn't seem to give a about him being gone.
Not at all. Well, they were under some kind of spell.
How about those two spot smoking dudes that were closeted for each other?
Hey, let's check out the closet over there.
Yeah, when they were first like, okay, let's go check in the closet, I'm like, okay, they're going to do a closet joke. Then I'm like, okay, the 80s are not maybe that inside yet.
I don't know
but
if he
they're
was
really close to each other's faces.
Yes.
And like really seductive.
The one without the glasses seems genuinely worried about the other guy.
Yeah.
You got any that work? Well, there's got to be some around here. I'll be back.
And the guy with the glasses, Scott Thompson without a P, is in Police Academy.
You know, Chad, I don't think we've got his full attention. So why don't you take his books and throw them out the window?
My pleasure, Carl.
And then he is in Charles Band's Parasite.
I don't know how you take this heat. Got anything to drink in there?
Has some canned water inside.
The movie which gave us the Me More.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch that, right?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a silly movie, but it's fun. And Luca Bercovici in that is an actor, not the director. Charles Band is the director.
Yeah, well, I could make you stay.
I'll leave her alone. She's no fun.
Hey, I decide what's fun around here.
Don't rush your luck.
Playing games, Rickus?
Other than that, there is a Tamara, forgive me if I want to say Devereaux, but is wrong, who was one of the three little people inside E.T. at certain points in certain scenes.
Oh, I thought 3 people at one time.
No. Here there is a gag of them one on top of the other with a
It's
trench
like a
coat.
very elaborate.
Yes, it's for the
just
payoff.
to have one of the ghoulies thrown at the dude's face.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
What are your names?
I'm called Grizzle.
And I am called Greedy Gut.
And who am I?
You are Jonathan.
Our master. What is it you wish, master?
Power.
Like I said, it's a lot of charm. Maybe I feel it doesn't congeal. I don't know. I get it's difficult because I know it sounds like I didn't enjoy it at all, and I did, but there's some unifying process. Maybe, like I said, maybe Mateo summed it up best when he said that it kind of feels like they had this satanic plot, and then they threw the ghoulies in. I don't know if that's what I'm reacting to, and maybe as a first-time viewer, somewhat, because I saw 3, so I get the vibe, but I don't know, I just can't come back to, I wanted everything formulated around
and also,
them.
By the 3, they realize what worked and what doesn't work.
Yeah, come on. No, wait, I need to dismiss the spirit. So do I. Where's the bathroom? Upstairs.
And so...
I'm sorry, does 2 have more of them, do you remember? 2 has a higher, okay.
Oh my God.
I hope that was the right spell.
So maybe it is like you say, like I'm thinking even of lesser known examples such as Addams Family to Addams Family Values or Brady to a very Brady sequel. It's almost strange how you would think that it would be diminishing returns, but I think with both of those, it's like, no, the sequel, they kind of learned from the first one and said, let's make this even more fun. So I think in both those cases, the second one is actually more fun.
Yeah.
Dick.
Which is interesting. You would think that the Brady sequel, the Addams Family sequel, like those must have been trying. No, they actually figured out their steps and upped what worked.
Yeah, and then they got it down to a science pretty much. So you realize, which is the exact opposite of what they did with Jaws. You have the shark in the first one, a fairly good amount of shark in the second one. Then the third one is, all right, let's have 2 sharks. And then the fourth one there were
some dolphins in it.
But I think that, I've heard a couple people say this, I think Jaws 2 is underrated because it's going to have to live up to one of the biggest, one of those objective cinema giants. Doesn't matter if you hate Jaws, you can't deny its status. So I think having to live up to that is impossible, but I've heard it a couple times now, I feel like, referred to as a solid slasher with a shark as the slasher. And in that lens, in other ways, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's better than Jaws 2 has any right to. It should just be a toss-off, but once you get to 3 and 4, even though 3 is kind of one of those, like, how could that not be dumb fun? Like the shitty gimmick. Not shitty gimmick, but the great gimmick done in a shitty way. But I feel like it's not talked enough about how Jaws 2 is pretty solid. It has the misfortune of living in the shadow of one of cinema's biggest giants.
Yes.
But it's pretty good.
It is on! Come on!
Jaws 2 is, beside the Blues Brothers, is the movie that I've seen the most. Because it was the very first movie that I've ever had.
I remember you saying that. And you're in the group for that reason.
Yeah. And so, yes.
Group. He's in a Jaws 2 group.
Where?
Facebook?
Oh, on Facebook there is a...
Well, that was fun.
Oh, it's kind of weird that all their friends came back to life. Like, they're kind of just played as disposable party goers who, like, they're going to die, who gives a shit. But they all survive, they all get into the car, they all escape. Like, why is this happening? Why did that feel that was necessary? Like, it's not like we followed these band of friends throughout the entire film.
True. It was probably would have been too grim to have just the 3 of them in the car.
But that's any horror.
True. But at the time, it was just like, it's to a degree is slightly tongue-in-cheek. I didn't want to mention it, but I will. At a certain point, somebody started to cackle for about 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, wait, what happened?
The scene of...
Thou mayest depart in peace. You shall return when I call upon thee. Indeed, you are a powerful instrument.
Jonathan? What are you doing?
Rebecca.
Which is a wonderful gag. It's a fantastic gag. And Ted Nicolau, the director of Terror Vision, episode 5 of Jams, was the editor on this movie. And it got it perfect. The timing of that scene is perfect.
I think the robe is so... gaudy.
Yeah.
That.
And he's soaking wet.
Yes.
She comes down and his full arm extended in the middle of a ritual in this brand new home, just sopping wet.
What are you doing?
Rebecca. You're home early.
We just watched 10
Yes.
by Blake Edwards.
When?
Last Thursday when he slept here.
I sleep here every
I mean,
night.
yes, he always sleeps here.
He
like
meant when we
Matthew.
stayed up late while
When he-
Matthew was
yes.
in the other room sleeping
Yeah.
because we all lived
That
together.
was exactly it. I meant to say that.
You can tell by the parade of opening skits that play on how stuck we are in here. That happen every week now. But when we watched 10, I could sense that Blake Edwards definitely knew how to do slapstick comedy. And a scene like where the old lady comes in with the tray and is bent over and shaking and can't put it down, it just translates so well. And then, actually, funny enough, I found a review I was going to send you because it kind of echoed my sentiments about the movie, almost nicely paralleled. But for someone who in my gut I knew could just, and again, maybe it wasn't his intent, to be fair, but I just knew how much control Blake had over a joke, and then I felt they were peppered throughout. And I enjoyed the movie, but I found it a little frustrating. So similarly here, me dying at the and again, we should point out, or at least I feel like I should, it is played to be funny. It's not played, I feel like, to be hysterical like I did, where I'm in tears.
Probably.
You think it's played to be funny for our benefit?
No one would deny there's a comedic element, but I feel like in the movie, it's more played for, now we see that his wife sees he's going down the rabbit hole.
But
Whereas
this idiot's
to me,
like, oh, God, all right, well, I'm going to go start dinner. Clean yourself up. Like, what the f***?
Let me finish my thought. It's that something like that was so hysterical. I guess similarly, I'm like, I wish you guys would have had Ghoulies 3, which I think Spectre was saying is kind of the most beloved of the series. The fans felt that's where they got it right. It had more of a sustained comedic energy, like I said, in a very pleasant Full House way. This one, that scene was so hilarious to me, I almost feel like, could you give me this movie but also be a symphony of those type of almost sitcom moments?
Like the whole movie spent trying to hide the satanic rituals from his wife.
Yeah, it's...
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know something? I'm really proud of you.
I want to be fair about this also because the whole time I couldn't help but think the people who are like, oh, you had these awesome like shark stooges and you had a good gimmick. Why'd you give me so much humans talking?
Who
Like
said that?
I know there's people who have felt the same exact way about sharks. So I want to watch my tone because I'm hypersensitive and I wish it was illegal for people to talk about your...
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Who are you?
I love stuff in here, and I think because I love stuff in here,
love stuff in there.
I was like, oh, I wish you would have done a little more of this, this, and that. So it's this weird effect where I don't want to sound like I was completely disappointed, but the things that I did love made me yearn for more, is perhaps how I would sell my feelings.
That's probably a really good comment.
What?
That's probably a really good comment.
Oh, thanks.
No. All right, never mind. Take it back.
I'll tell you about it in the morning.
But it's the idea, like, okay, you leave them wanting more, maybe because you didn't give them enough, but they still see, I saw enough.
Now
I'm
I'm curious to see too. Now I'm curious to see too. And I should say, I absolutely love, I wish I had a name, the little bald dude. I love him. I love him. He's such a great look. He's both cute and kind of gnarly, a little bit scary, a little bit...
In fact, he is the mascot.
He's the mascot.
Literally poster
like I said,
boy.
he's the guy that I've been seeing on VHS covers forever. I love his design. Like you said, the Charlie Brown head.
Good grief.
I love when the two little guys pop out of the thing. So, there you go. Tomas has a round-ass head, too.
Big-ass head.
And the great John Carl Beaker, the director of
oh yes,
Troll.
That's what I wanted to say, is that it showcases how...
I had no idea that's how you spelled his last name.
Oh, God. It showcases how great
of the Ghoulie
practical things are, because there's always something there, and I feel like I don't think there's ever been a movie released on any budget level where when I see the feedback, people are like, wow, the CGI looks really great. I feel like any time a movie is released, it could be the biggest studio tentpole in the world, everyone is always like, oh, God, that horrible CGI. I really have not seen an example where the public thinks the CGI is good. It's really quite fascinating.
What are you going to say? The CGI looks great?
But I think more and more, we look back at practical, there's always an object that is tangible, that is touchable, they're being filmed, and it really does wonders. No matter how low level it might be, the fact that something is there.
Come to me. Come to me, my children.
You can touch it.
That the actors don't have to react to a tennis ball or something.
It always gives a little oomph to the proceedings, and I think that's very strong here. I can see why it became what it does, and I'm interested in seeing, like I said, I'm kind of a gap here. I've seen 1 and 3, but not 2. I'm interested in what 2 is.
How many are there?
4, I think?
I think 4.
Have you seen all 4?
No, the last one I still missing.
Funnily enough, Spectre said the same thing. I think he's seen all before. Is 4 a later entry, like a more? Is there a lag in between?
I don't remember, honestly. I really don't remember.
Where are your gods now?
Yeah, it's a very Matthew. Are you
paying attention?
Kind of similar, where very charmed. I liked it, and yet there's something where I'm like, I don't know. It's weird.
It felt like you couldn't really get behind the protagonist.
That was another thing. I felt we didn't have anyone to anchor us to.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And I like the verve of the main guy. He definitely was not sleepwalking through the role of getting into the possession. Nicely done, and yet I don't know. Yeah, there was no one to anchor to.
There was enough evolution of things happening. Pop up.
I will have to change our batteries at the end.
It's out?
No, it's good. Speak.
Just don't talk.
In Ghoulies 3, we follow.
You talk a lot about Ghoulies 3, man.
Yeah, we're talking about the Ghoulies.
Well, we follow a classic guy in college who's into pranks, and I was very surprised by how. It sounds great, right? But I was also very surprised by how much I enjoyed being with him, because it could have been a routine role, and maybe would say it was, but I'm comparing here because I feel like I didn't have that guy to grab onto.
Right.
But in Ghoulies 3, I was surprised. I was with our main guy. It could have just gone through a routine thing, but I enjoyed the beats of him trying to get his girl back. I enjoyed Ghoulies 3. Probably more than this one, I'd say. But
whoa, what?
I don't.
Wait, I thought you said you don't think it was better than this?
I think Ghoulies 3 was better than this.
Oh, you said you didn't sound like you were that. You said there might be a possibility that this might be this good.
What?
What?
You said you probably like Ghoulies 3 more than this. That probably suggests it wasn't that like overwhelmingly good.
3.
Yeah, compared to this. That's what you said.
It was fun.
Okay, that's good.
No. This wonderful conversation has been brought to you by whatever.
Beady body boo. Beady body yeah.
Speaking of Charles Bend, I rented the Page Master from Easy Video when I was a child. And got home to find out you weren't there. To find out I rented the Puppet Master.
Oh.
And I think I got about 4 minutes in. I think my mom realized what it was and turned it off.
Who made the mistake?
I assumed Blockbuster because it was behind.
Oh, it was behind.
Page Master.
Okay. Macaulay.
I've still never seen Page Master to this day.
Oh.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin and Christopher Lloyd, I think.
A bunch of books.
You read all these books? Your dad?
Yeah, I guess so.
The Secret World of Magic?
I wonder where on the cultural impact meter, man, I wish that was a thing, our little ghoulies fall. You know, I know they're out there, but to what degree? You know what? I'm an entertainment zoologist, man. I love doing it, but maybe that's illusory. I just can't stop wanting to break this stuff down. If you told me there was a community college class where they were like, we have endless data breaking down just how much the Ghoulies franchise has infiltrated American pop culture, I would be like, God damn, let's go. Are you going to have like pie graphs and shit? Is there actual percentages? And when people tell me, hey, what kind of a stooge actually pays attention to Rotten Tomato scores? What I've realized is that if I tell you, Mateo, could I please bring up any movie in this collection and with a exact number percentage you could tell me how good it was? You'd be like, that's ridiculous. And Rotten Tomatoes is the closest we get, and my movie nerd zoologist brain, it's like catnip to me. because I'm very curious. Like I said, I know BHB is an icon, as the toilet thing is. I've seen it on VHS forever. But I haven't seen, and Mateo, you'll be better equipped to answer this. I feel like I haven't seen a deluge of merch. For instance, granted, it's new and buzzy, but I feel like in the past couple months since Terrifier 2 blew up, I've seen more art merch in a couple months than I've seen Ghoulies merch in my whole life. But I'm more asking this as a guy that isn't as familiar. Like, has it permeated? I guess
Probably at the time there wasn't that much the culture of these.
Not as much the obsessive now with all the merchandise and shoot-offs of everything.
I mean, Charles Band has produced. I think that they are selling all the Puppet Master.
Yes, I believe so.
Figurines.
I haven't seen those at all.
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself. Hey, knock it off.
In one of them there is.
Greg Sestero.
Yes.
Let's begin.
Yeah, I think that at the time there was not the concept of that. Like, I think that this is one of those movies where people are more familiar of the poster, with the poster than the movie itself, because it's something that is so catchy, eye-catching.
I would have never expected this story based off my knowledge of Ghoulies.
Yes.
I would never expected it
Another
was
good point.
satanic ceremonies in a castle with some
very good point.
Douchebag in a room.
Probably the second Ghoulies, it's closer to what you would expect by a movie called Ghoulies than Ghoulies 2. But
I don't think that's very funny.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
I think I busted my head.
Oh, thank God. I thought that you really hurt yourself.
Because back to your point, if you had called this The Ritual House and it was simply had a couple wacky side characters, it's almost like the more organic effect would be The Ritual House and we just wrote in our minions. And in the second one, you're like, hey, make the Minions movie. Look at how much they retracted those.
Would the subtitle be filled with wacky characters?
Yes.
That's the
Almost as if after The Lion King, they came out with the hyenas.
Yeah,
with the
or
three
Pumbaa and Timon.
Even better.
Which is
to a degree.
Which is that Lion King 1.5,
I had the
I think.
McDonald's toys.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, they had a series too.
Oh. No, they did. But they did. I think that the first one
yes.
was Lion King 1.5, which is mainly Pumbaa and Timon, I think.
I think what happens when he's with them, right?
Yeah. Or what happens to them to meet him. Whatever, something like that.
I guess none of that matters.
No. But there is a very good song called Dig a Tunnel in Lion King 1.5, which was very catchy.
Let's hear it now.
Probably not.
Let's hear it, but reverse so that we avoid the copyright.
Okay, yes.
Play it backwards.
But then you're going to open a portal to hell.
Oh, possibly. And the Ghoulies will come out,
Yes.
and we go back to the
Full
movie.
circle.
Well, let's do this quick. Mateo, the first Gremlins was?
Gremlins.
A movie.
The year?
Oh, 84.
And this one was shot in?
84.
But released in?
85.
And the first Critters was?
85.
Very interesting. So they're very close. Because they're all, well, to a degree, the critters are very similar. Or
What about
the creatures
Munchies?
in them. What?
Munchies.
Munchies, I want to say 87, but I may be completely
Hey,
wrong.
what's Munchies?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss, my wife. Baby, my heart's on fire.
It's like another.
Yeah. It's more the Goosebumps version of.
Well, say, this almost seems like that too,
Yeah.
where there's an amount of gore, and if there wasn't so much satanic ceremonies, which I'm sure parents would be flipping out to have their kids watch, it's fairly toned down. There's no sex. There's really no. I mean, there's some drugs, but drinking, but nothing explicit.
Yeah, there is no nudity. No.
Yeah. There's dick.
There's dick.
Nice.
They call me Dick, but you can call me Dick.
And there are a couple of
characters. Name.
The derp actor with the eyes.
Yeah.
The contacts were an interesting but flawed effect.
Kept on flipping left and right, so it was pretty funny actually. But
Your eyes. What have you done to your eyes?
It's a sign.
Derp, 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 derp.
But yeah, there's not a lot to speak of with the human characters. Kind of like your comment about, I suppose it could be any number of things. I guess more recently it was about the newest Scream.
I'm telling you, sir.
You got a problem here, guy?
I don't really let's talk about character. Like the human characters were all kind of just there, even though, like I said, the main guy takes his role with relish. He's definitely not underselling the screaming the chants into the Netherland in the basement. But I don't know. I'm half charmed and half
Wait, there's more.
It's a weird fact. I don't want to talk shit because like I said, I see the spirit of it. It's the anti-Chud where I understand why it became the thing.
Yes.
Why did Chud become a thing? I think it's just the acronym, honestly. Sometimes it's just...
It is a fun word.
A great hook's a great hook, and I think the acronym is just like, it's called Chud. It means something? Oh my god, cannibalistic human underground drillers.
After all, Killer Clowns was sold with a title and a drawing of one of the clowns. So.
Oh, pizza.
Sometimes you actually strike gold, like Killer Clown. Sometimes you have something that, for some reason, becomes famous. But then it generates a sequel, but the Chud, I mean Chud 2, but the Chud, which is a straight-out comedy.
You know, I wonder what I should wear to Mary's party tonight.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, honey. You like this dress?
I hate it. Hey, it's no fruitless. What are those?
Prunes, honey. They're good for you.
They look like olives. Hi, honey. Mailman come yet?
He's gone.
Yeah, we gotta see that too.
Yeah, and it's
very
very
on the show.
It's very weird. It would be like if all of a sudden Jaws 2 were a musical or something like that. It's just like you completely change the genre and making a movie that actually I would say with But the Chud 2 is much better than the predecessor. It's completely different, but it's
100% intentional comedy. Like they set out to make this is a comedy.
This is
genre.
a comedy.
Okay. Any horror or no? Just straight up like wacky 80s comedy.
It's like.
How have we not watched that one? Yeah.
It's
right?
like House 2. House with William Catt. It has comedic element, but it's pretty much a horror.
Sandy.
House 2, it goes into comedy territory.
You know, I've been working on these houses for about 20 years now, and I've seen enough tragedy and disaster to make you want to upchuck in your shorts. You see, these old houses, they just got minds of their own, you know, and you just got to teach them who's boss. You know, sort of give them a spanking. Must be foreign made. Well, I'm going to fix this old house up for you, Jess.
And it has the notorious horror actor Bill Maher.
Jesse, you old golf bag. How are you?
John, what are you doing here?
Oh, well, your beautiful lady informed me that she's found the Madonna of the 80s. I thought I'd better come by and check it out.
Hey, I thought Madonna was the Madonna of the 80s, huh?
Very good. Who's your friend, Bozo the Clown?
From Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle, something produced by Charles Band.
For some reason, when you say House and Mar, my brain jumps to Bordello of Blood and Dennis Miller.
You know, I saw you back at the house, and when I did, I knew you were special.
I'll bet you say that to all the boys, don't you?
Yeah, but with you, I mean it.
Listen, Lilith, I'm reasonably sure you're the type of woman who's never heard the expression half-cocked, but that is exactly what this gun is, and I swear to God I'll use it.
Okay.
Maybe because House Place, Bordello Place, and comedian that would go on to be known for much more political type rants, still in an era where they're trying standard-based comedy stuff.
What the hell's going on here, Jonathan?
Let's express
our feelings by throwing pieces of paper. And let's be real with our viewers. Let's do it fast because I'm so sorry. I'm going to go to the bathroom very soon. So,
I know.
It's going to be happening soon, then you smell.
This is fast?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to rush for the, quality of the show. Why should my poop affect the quality of our internet show that our mom loves watching? Sometimes. I feel like she should stop watching these things. But then I feel like if I tell her, hey, let's stop, this really isn't content for you, and she'll be like, no, I love watching it. This is kind of confusing, and I'm kind of in one of those split down the middle things, but I do want to stress that I did see the charm and fun in it. Love my bald-headed boy to death. I want to poster that guy in a t-shirt, even though they say, hey, you're a poser, I saw the episode, you're not crazy about it. I'm going to do 3. I know technically 2.5's in the middle. No. I take it back. I'm going to rip one and do... I think it deserves...
Please don't rip one.
I think it deserves right there. Deserve right down the middle.
You already did.
Jason's a little torn, but I get it. I don't know. We'll wait for Goonies 2. Maybe Goonies 2 will shut me up. I'll get everything I want. 2.5 for Jason for Ghoulies. Matthew?
I'm going to go with 1, 2, 3.5. About a half. Because I see potential, and I like the ball-headed boy.
Yeah, man, we all love that ball-headed boy. I mean, let's find out if he has a name.
Ball-headed boy, man.
He's got to have some sort of name, much like our own Stooges.
Yes, and I go with 2.5.
Oh, okay. We're all about in.
Yeah.
We're all in sync.
I have to, beside the fact that all the special effects and practical effects rather, and everything, I have to admire a movie that spawns a few sequels from an idea that is...
Because clearly there was something there.
Yeah,
clearly
exactly.
people responded.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Actually, I guess that's true. No matter how abysmal, dismal, and disdainful any train of sequels may be, the longer the train, the more it speaks to the resonance of the original launching point. So yes, good point, Mateo. The fact that there's 4 means that in one way or another connected, and we really love that ball-headed boy.
Yeah.
MaJaMa.
So guys, thank you for sticking around with us for my virgin viewing of Ghoulies. I'm glad we finally did. Maybe we'll be back with Ghoulies 2. Maybe we'll be back with Ghoulies 3. Maybe we'll be back with Ghoulies 4. But either way, we will be back next week as always.
Whether you like it or not.
That's the one thing you can count on, is that we trudge ahead with vain hopes of one day making $25 a month.
Ooh, that got really real, man.
Yes.
And we're going to take it out on Matthew's ending line. Please say something quickly so the anus can release my fecal matter. Good enough for me.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. Dead.